What can you say? Another excellent week for the Cubs. We talk about it next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following on your preferred audio platform. And you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. We're pleased to be with you whenever and wherever you may be listening on another start of the week here on a Monday, as the Cubs split 2 games with the Cardinals in London, winning 9-1 on Saturday and losing 7-5 on Sunday. Despite the loss Sunday and how it happened, which we'll get to, it was another excellent week for the Cubs as they went 5-1 on the week. Now 11-3 since June 9th, 2 games under 500, and firmly in the mix in the NL Central at 3 games back. Sam, how are you feeling about the Cubs right now coming out of this weekend?
I'm feeling like if they just didn't play on Sundays, they'd be up 5 games in the Central.
Yeah, wow. 2 wins on Sundays still.
So it's interesting. We just chatted a little bit about this off the air, and I actually think it's worth bringing up on the air. It's a totally different animal when you record right after a game versus when you have a little bit of time to breathe. And initially, after this game, I was very frustrated, like everybody should be. This was a game the Cubs should have won. They didn't win, and the main reason they didn't win is a player that's not supposed to be playing at said position ruined the game at that position. However, I also said on this very show 1 week ago, almost to the exact time, that 3-2 would be solid, and I would absolutely adore a 4-1 week. And they had a 4-1 week, and they did so in fairly dominant fashion. It wasn't a really particularly close 4-1 outside of the one defeat that they had. And so, and I think I could be wrong on this. I think they were 4 or 4.5 out last week at this time. Now they're 3 out. So they chipped another game and a half or so off the race. And, the London stuff, and we'll get to the loss today. There's no question about that. I'm also going to get to the giveaway winners that I have later. But 2-game series are weird. I feel like at
it's
least
not even really a series.
Yeah, I feel like at least 70% of the time you're just going to split. It's like a doubleheader. It is what it is.
Right.
And there was a lot of good developments this week. I mean, Steele was outstanding on Saturday, and Morel got heated up again. Happ found his power, in Europe, which was nice to see.
Which you sort of predicted on Friday.
Yeah, I was begging for it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say predicting. I would just say, please, for the love of everything, just hit some homers, him or Suzuki. And Suzuki went 0 for the trip in Europe. So that was I'm starting to get really
disheartening,
frustrated. But overall, very good. And, it's shaping up. And I hope that that it turns out to be a 3-team race in the Central between us, Milwaukee, and Cincy. And you did your job. And the cool part is about winning 11 out of your last 14 is we're not in the mode now where every loss is a killer. Now we could go back to how we were in April. Let's just keep winning series. Go 4-2 this week again in 2 home series, and you're in good shape. So overall, good things. We'll talk about the frustrations from today, but that's where I'm at. Where are you at?
Yeah, there was a day last week where Jed Hoyer and David Ross were both asked about getting out of the hole. And Jed Hoyer said, we got to do exactly what we're doing, winning 4 or 5 in a row, get on a big run. And then David Ross is always like, take it day by day.
Right.
So it's interesting. Those guys, as much as they work together, kind of how different their messaging has been. Sure. But they're doing exactly what Jed Hoyer said. And in order to get out of a 10 games under 500 hole, you have to be you have to win 11 out of 14, which is exactly what they've done.
Right.
I've cooled off dramatically since the game on Sunday morning. Was very excited after the absolute thrashing of the Redbirds on Saturday that it's not even 9:30 in the morning and the Cubs are up 4-0 in the Sunday game. And then they let 7 unanswered to St. Louis.
I was still in bed.
Yeah, exactly.
No, like literally.
Okay.
I was watching the game in my bed.
Right. And but I feel good. I feel good. I like revisiting what we said the previous Monday. 5 games in a week, which is really unique.
Yep.
And they win 4 out of 5, which is outstanding. Justin Steele, 6 strong again Saturday. Ian Happ, 2 homers as the Northsiders put on an absolute show that day. In the 10 games, Sam, since the Cubs returned home from their long West Coast trip back on June 13th, Ian Happ is hitting .316, .395 on base, along with 3 homers, 3 doubles, 2 triples, and 14 batted in. So I hope that's the pivot for him the rest of the way.
Keep it going. Need those guys to hit.
Yes. Yeah,
it's not a coincidence. Not a coincidence also that Nico Horner's really turning it up. As he goes, this offense goes. It's kind of like the old Dexter Fowler, so that's not a coincidence.
Right. And then on Sunday, they started strong again, but were upended after scoring those 4 in the top of the first. We're ready to get to this game, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, this is your program. So if you'd like to just skip around, do that. I'd like to do like 25 seconds on what you thought of the whole London experience.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here.
No, but just win.
The London experience was fine.
Yeah, fine.
It didn't like blow me away.
Yeah.
I was into it, and I liked that they had the exclusive national window both days, but yeah, it was fine.
I thought Michael Kay and A-Rod.
It was reprehensible, the broadcast.
It was. So let's transition to
Saturday.
Sunday.
The broadcast was fine.
Yeah.
Although they did a lot of like national baseball talk.
And it's a national game, so they have to.
Right.
But let's transition into Sunday, because before we get to the big event, the Cubs had 2 on, 1 out. I think it was the 8th.
Top 8, yep.
7-4 game.
Bellinger.
And Palante was pitching for the Cardinals. Bellinger and Tauchman up, right on left. And you're feeling like they're going to have good swings. And Michael Kay and A-Rod had no idea what was happening. They were talking about everything but the event of the game. And then Bellinger ropes one to right at a guy. And Tauchman ropes one to left. And these guys, if you weren't watching and you were just listening, you would have thought it was 19-4 St. Louis.
Yeah, the game was over to them. They were it was honestly inappropriate what Michael Kay was doing. He was mispronouncing countless player names.
What do you call Madrigal?
Yeah.
What is this? What?
Alzoli.
Oh, he said Alzoli?
Yeah.
Well, the last 6 outs, I listened to the radio.
Right. No, and then A-Rod has that fake laugh.
No, A-Rod. Apparently, Gomes had a terrible call on him in the 9th inning. It was man on second, no out, 3-1 count to him. He would have walked, tying run up, and it was like at his head. They called it a strike. And Ross, there was just a shot of Ross just pouring seeds into his mouth.
Oh, jeez.
So
yeah, but no, it made me long for the radio call. For
man,
sure.
I'm hungry. I haven't eaten much today.
Bottom of the second is where things turned in Sunday's contest, Sam. Bases loaded, 2 outs, still 4-0 at this point.
Yep.
Tommy Edman hits a ground ball. I'm going to try to paint a picture here. Tommy Edman hits a ground ball to the right side in between first and second. Trey Mancini, starting at first, forgets, and I'm going to editorialize at some points, including right here. Mancini apparently forgets about Horner's range and begins to vacate his first base spot. As he does that, Horner is sprinting to his left and not only fields the grounder easily, he has momentum towards the first base bag. so much so that he just underhands the ball. As he's doing that, Mancini is still, because he vacated his spot, retreating to the first base bag. And as the ball is in the air and Mancini's foot hits the base, this dude inexplicably attempts to make a bare hand catch, drops the ball. Everyone's safe. Cardinals eventually score 7, and the Cubs lost that game.
So the only thing I'd like to refute in that thing is I think you're selling it like it was really far in between first and second. It was a clear, like, yes, Hoyer had to take a couple steps to his left, but there wasn't 1 second where I thought
he was even not even as much in the hole as you thought.
Yeah, I don't think there was 1 second where
That's
anybody
fine.
watching the game thought that was the first baseman's ball.
And well, then where's he going?
Somebody tweeted at me and said, right when the ball was hit, somebody from the Cubs dugout shouted cover, and that's what caused Mancini to go over there. Anytime a ball is hit to the right side at a high level, you're going to yell at the pitcher to go cover first. That's just
it's basic stuff.
Yeah, so that had no implication of it. It was a combination of a guy who's really struggling defensively, who overreacted to the ball, and then most people would have the athleticism to get back to first in time, but he's just not a very athletic guy. And look, we must say, if Stroman gets out Donovan after that, different ball game. Stroman did not pitch well today. He got hit hard. No. If you want to be an optimist, you could say, hey, he was probably due to get hit hard at some point. Probably better for him that it was a bunch of unearned runs and he came out early, and then maybe next start he'll be fine. But this totally changed the complexion of the game. And here's my thing on it. Trey Mancini, great guy. Been through a ton in his life.
100%.
Has a ton of respect of mine.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to go after him. This is a David Ross mistake. And it has been a David Ross mistake since April 9th, Matt. I tweeted out a clip from our show April 9th when yours truly, and then you had a great ending quote to it. Yours truly said, this is April 9th. This is 8 games in. It's obvious Mancini can't play every day, and he should DH. And then you chimed in and goes, it's pretty clear he's only can be a DH. And he hasn't done that well either, but he did have a big hit on Sunday. And the thing that I don't like about the Cubs, if you were to tell me what's unlikable about the Cubs, it's this very situation right here. Cody Bellinger is, quote, under the weather. So Ross is making it seem like that's why he's not playing. Remember, Cody Bellinger hits lefties better than he hits righties. So there's no reason to platoon him at first base at this point. Right. And then in the 3rd inning, Bellinger enters the game after the Mancini mess up. So why didn't he just play the game? And when you have your best pitcher who is competing for a Cy Young Award, who is competing to start the All-Star game for the National League, don't worry about little bits of offense. Have your best defensive lineup out there. That's why Tucker Barnhart, that's become Stroman's guy. Yeah. There was a lefty going. Yan Gomes smashes lefties. He sat down because the priority when Stroman pitches is Stroman. So you need to have your best defensive group. And first base for the Cubs has been
a disaster.
Nothing short this season of a complete nutter disaster. And Mancini's a big part of it. Jed Hoyer deserves a ton of blame. I had plenty of Astros people in my DMs when that got announced saying, good luck. He is done. That's a miss on Jed. And Ross continues to, perpetuate the situation. And it cost them a game today. And if you have one nitpicky thing about this team right now at 37 and 39 is every part of their metrics still say they should be about 5-6 games better. They have by far the best run differential in the Central, and it's not like they lose every close game. They've been winning a good amount of them lately. They lose a lot of these games because of decision making on the margins, and you know how I feel about that, so I'll just leave it there. Unfortunate. Have some genuine feel for Mancini too, and I don't care that he's making $14 million over 2 years. Trust me, these guys aren't like, oh, I made a bad play. I don't care. I'm making a lot of money. I'm sure he's genuinely disappointed with himself. And
he had a great quote after the game.
Oh, what was it? I didn't see it.
That he owned up to it. He said, It was a great trip out here, and I'm sorry to the fans for ruining the second game.
Yeah. So tough. And I think this team, I'm thrilled they have a day off on Monday. Just get back in a nice routine and come back Tuesday against Philly. I believe they're facing Southpaw Ranger Suarez and get back on the W total. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I would add two things and serve a little bit of disagreement. Just that, since Bellinger returned 10 days ago, he has not started at first against a lefty.
Right.
And at some point, when is it on the player?
Right.
He's continuing to start against lefties. He just has to catch the ball, and that's on him. Right. That's on him as the player.
But it wasn't a catch. It was the whole thing. It was He didn't know where to go. It's the unathletic. Remember, in the first inning, he caused Swanson an error. That ball should have been caught on a fly.
It should have. And
he should be out there.
The problem, I think, is just my instinct to say the problem is beyond Ross, because 5 days ago on Wednesday's matinee at the Pirates, Mancini collided with Mark Leiter Jr. He had two awful plays in a matter of days. MLJ falls on his left arm, somehow avoids a catastrophic injury. And then there's Sunday's play. So here's the thing. Because Mancini, by the way, not an everyday first baseman. Did you know he hasn't been an everyday first baseman his whole career?
You don't say.
He has never played more than 77 games at first in a single year. This is his 7th year.
Wow, it's hard to tell.
Cubs have been a massive failure at first in 2023. Eric Hosmer is not here. Matt Mervis is in AAA. Now he's dealing with a thumb injury, by the way, that's been kept secret. Cody Bellinger is only there now because he is returning to full-time action.
He's a Gold Glove center fielder that has to play first because you don't have anybody.
They're proceeding with caution. Maybe it was out of need, for the most part. But, Mancini's role moving forward, it's just like you shrug. But I guess you could DH. I guess you could pinch hit. But 2 years, 14 M's with this guy.
But let me ask you this. Don't you feel like all the mistakes, like the stuff with Leiter Jr., that not at this point, he is telling you he can't play there. So continuing to run him out there you don't think that's on the skipper? Like when I evaluate player versus manager, I think Suzuki's a great example. Suzuki is an example of a player not performing right now.
Right.
And there's nothing Ross could do about it. Sure, he can move him down in the order. What's that going to – like, this is a guy that has all the tools to be a good hitter. He needs to hit. Mancini he can't do it. He's not an athlete anymore. You're asking him to do something that physically he's not good enough to do anymore. And that's where I just think it becomes a decision-maker's thing. It's like with Hosmer. After about 6 weeks, it's like, I'm not mad at Eric Hosmer. He's not good enough. Stop putting him there. That's why
I get what you're saying.
That's where I'm at. Like, Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, those guys have to hit. And it doesn't matter what Ross does. Like, sure, there's better ways, in my opinion, to optimize the order for success. But at the end of the day, if those guys don't hit, they're not going to be good, and that's not Ross's problem. But Mancini is a margin guy. There's no reason to force him out there. And enough of this. Stop trying to make failed contracts work. They did it far too long with Hayward. It's okay to say, hey, this one didn't work.
It was a bad deal.
You don't have to force him out there because of what the number next to his name says.
We failed on this signing.
Yeah, it's all over sports. This is a thing. Like, hey, It got messed up. We're in a pennant race right now. Man, does that feel good to say.
Yeah.
And we should be 2 games out, not 3, because we're forcing a guy to play. Like, and by the way, if Bellinger was legitimately under the weather, put like a Maya
Well,
there.
he played.
Yeah. But
he came in later.
Yeah. And sorry, it's been a long day. I mentioned that bothered me that they said he was under the weather and he was in the 3rd inning. I said that, right?
Well, they said it pregame.
Yeah. They said pregame like he was under the weather because he wasn't going to play, and they put him in 3 innings in. That just bothers me.
No, it's another weird thing with them.
Yeah, it's the only thing this year that's like severely unlikable.
They're all Tuesday, live. They play a lefty. Bellinger's going to be there, right?
Well, if he isn't, you could do the show after yourself because I won't be watching.
Or maybe with Politis.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and I saw a great tweet. I don't remember who it was from, but somebody's like, "All right, Ross just said Bellinger's under the weather. That could mean he plays today, or it could mean he's out for 6 months." Because
Yeah, it was
I mean,
Bleacher Nation.
they just give us nothing.
Well, yeah, they don't have the benefit of the doubt there.
But yeah, it's frustrating. I feel for Mancini. He's a super. I remember last year he had a great interview. I think it was during the playoffs or the World Series where he was really struggling, and he's like, "This is so hard. It hurts. I want to come through so bad." You feel for him.
Yeah, of course.
But
he can't do the job right now.
Yeah, this is the big leagues. Feeling for him, doesn't win you games.
Right. All right, coming up next, we're going to preview the rest of the week and go over a little bit of what's next, including the tickets announcement from Sam. And we do that next. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. The next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to the eBay Motors My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. The Cubs play the Phillies at 7:05 p.m. Central Tuesday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on SiriusXM. Cubs have an off day Monday before beginning a 6-game homestand Tuesday, 3 with the Phillies and 3 with the Guardians. On Tuesday's episode, we will preview the Phillies series, maybe go over a possible roster move or two the Cubs can make before they return to action. And we'll plan on being live after one of those games of the series as well. All right, Sam, what else do you have for us here to begin a week? And then we'll announce the tickets.
Oh, that's pretty much it.
All right, fantastic.
4-2 is my goal for this week.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I think that's pretty fair. And, you got to keep making ground. And, we'll talk about it more tomorrow. The Phillies and Guardians, those are interesting series because they're teams that are right in the Cubs bubble.
Right, on the cusp.
Yeah, and I think both teams going into the year have had bigger aspirations than the Cubs, but they're all in the same. They're all in the same spot. So
yep.
Cubs already played Philly. They beat Philly 1, 2 out of 3, so they got to pay them back. But yeah, so if you are new to the show, which none of you are, I had a little bit of a little Twitter gaffe earlier this week, so I decided to give 2 people tickets. The way I did it is Matt helped me out a lot and let me know that before first pitch, there was 274 people that tweeted for me. And what I basically did was I counted the first 274 because you go down, it goes in order. It's actually took me like 15 minutes. And then I just randomly picked, and it worked out. I picked one person that's literally an everydayer, and then one person who I haven't talked to before, but I saw her Twitter, and she has a pretty big Cubs Twitter presence, so it worked out. The winner, I'm not going to announce their last names, obviously.
We'll reach out to them.
Yeah, the winners are going to be Brady and Melissa. So they're each going to get 2 tickets to a game of their choice. And I'll DM them, and I'll announce it on Twitter too publicly about, we'll do like bleachers or something like that and do the logistics. But yeah, those are the winners, Brady and Melissa. I will tweet out at some point, probably like late afternoon tomorrow. I will tag them in it so then they know. And then I will go from there with the DMs. But yeah, we will definitely be doing other giveaways before the year ends. And hopefully, this time when I tweet about it, I don't embarrass myself. That would be really helpful because Lord knows in the last however many hours I've had people come up to me and say, Sam, can I get some tickets? And I go, ha, ha, ha.
Right.
Everything stinks. But the Cubbies are in the race, and everybody watching this show should be watching every single game that they can, because it is, what's the date? It'll be June 26th when you're listening to this, and the Cubs are still very much alive.
Absolutely, they are. And exciting week ahead. Cubs have not announced their probables, but the Phillies have Suarez, Nola, and Walker.
Have you noticed, before we get off air, how many different Cubs players people think you look like?
No.
You've gotten 3 main ones. Do you know the 3?
Hendricks.
Yeah, which is the one that I really don't see.
Okay.
I don't think you. I think I look like more like Kyle Hendricks than you. Hendricks is one. There's a number 1.
The number 1.
Yeah, you're missing the guy that I've seen the most.
Oh, I'm having a brain freeze. Not Cole Franklin.
No, he's a Brazilian catcher.
When I had a mustache when we opened the show last July.
He's a Brazilian catcher on the
Yan Gomes?
Yeah, people say you look like Yan Gomes, like a decent amount. That's the one that's the most accurate because of the chin.
Sure.
You got like
Which
a very
I
strong
believe somebody said.
Yeah, no, me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, a lot of people say that. And then the third one's very flattering.
It's more pronounced on camera.
It's come up twice in the last few weeks. Chris Bryant.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's come up twice. So
wow.
Bryant, Hendricks, and Gomes. Ironically, none of those gentlemen look alike. So on that note,
so there's the internet for you.
Yeah. On that note, enjoy your Monday afternoon.
Shout out to the everydayers who are with us all 5 episodes throughout the week. And you can become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. Be sure to hit
some
the
Arby's
subscribe
today.
button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm. Sam, 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. We just crossed it today, player.
Oh, did we really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
4,000.
Oh, should we make like a post? Or?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like tag me in that.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast on the audio side and streaming on SiriusXM. Certainly been a journey here.
Yeah.
For Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Let's see if the Cubs could stay in the mix this week. This is Locked On Cubs.